right?
Gotcha.
The soul is your authentic. There she is. Hello, gorgeous. So, and the soul, that authentic self, is not only, like Melissa was saying, it's not the inner crybaby, it's not the inner, even the inner mud pie maker, because it continues to grow and evolve and mature. It's just it's the unblemished original you, the you that was, is, and always will be absolutely perfect. Right?
I like that thought. I like that.
Say that again.
Here's the thing about perfection in this way. Because people tell me, oh, I'm not perfect, or I can't, how can you call yourself perfect? I'm like, listen to this. If you have any other thought that you're not perfect, that implies that you are comparing yourself to something. Right?
Right.
It means that there's a comparison happening right there. And as you compare yourself to something else, it's always going to be inappropriate because there's nobody like you. I've said this in my streams all the time. You're a snowflake, baby. There's nobody else like you ever, and there never will be. So you can't compare yourself to anybody else.
Right. Completely unique. And born complete. I love that. If you look at a little baby, they've got everything that we've got, just smaller and just newer. They're born complete into this world, ready to breathe and eat and sleep and communicate. And I just think that's really beautiful. So that's perfection.
That's perfection. And the thing about that perfection, the unique you and the unique Jay and the unique me, as we mature and evolve and live our lives through this world, we become uniquely suited for certain kinds of contributions. Right? And so when you talk about where's that calling come from? Is that an inner voice? Is it an outer voice? It doesn't really matter. That's what happens. You become uniquely designed or evolved or experienced into it so that you can make certain kind of contributions into the world that nobody else can make.
So when you feel that acceptance or comfort, that's when you know that you're doing what you were meant to do?
Absolutely. I was just talking to somebody else about this on Meerkat the other night, who was struggling with, what part of their career they should go into. And I wanted to ask them, I was like, so what is the yummiest, like of all the things that you do, there's going to be one part that's like, I just really like this the best. If I was really honest, if I was really like, just please, somebody pay me to do only this, and I would be the happiest freaking person on the planet. Right? That's what you should do more of. That's exactly what you should do more of.
Right.
And when I stopped doing everything else and started only doing that for my life changed.
David, I was just talking to Jay about that very thing.
Yeah, she was.
I went to this conference over the weekend. It was called Connect Her. It's for women.
Hey, Melissa,
Yeah.
your sound is like staticky. Is your plugs plugged in all the way?
Is that better?
Still.
Better? How's that? Is that better? Now you can't hear me at all?
No, I can hear you, but it's just like it's staticky.
How's that one? I don't
Sound
hear you at all
very
now.
I just want to take a minute to say hello to everybody. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you're enjoying this. I'm pointing the camera at my desktop where I've got the lab browser going, whatever that's called. And it's the website is blab.im, blab.im. You go there, you can see the screen. It's called 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town. It's the show that Melissa does every week, and I get to be her guest tonight. So stay here with me. Go there. Do both. It's a good idea. And I just want to let you know how to get there. Right. So my better half, Sparky, is telling truth on me over here on Meerkat. She says, I did it kicking and screaming, meaning stopping doing the other stuff and just really focusing on what it is that I know my heart wants to do, because my head was telling me something different. So my head was convinced I should do something else, but my heart kept going, no, I'm supposed to do this. And I was really listening to my head too much. You gotta listen to your heart.
Melissa, can you hear us at all? Can you hear us? Can you hear?
Oh, you're so smart. 15-year-olds are so smart.
We'll get everything set up.
Every family should have one.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Can't hear you.
Yeah, neither one of them.
Well, I can hear you, but it's faint. It's very.
Be right back.
Yeah, I just don't want her to be talking and then we can't hear her. It's pretty bad. But
Jay,
Dorian,
did I hear on one of your streams recently that you were have a line in that you're using a mixer?
Yeah, I've got a mixer, just a cheap little mixer, and I've got a mic, and I've got a little setup here for podcasting. So,
and it's going right into your iPhone?
Yeah, it's actually a little device. I can actually show it to you. This little device here,
like an iRig. Okay, so I've got
not an iRig. This thing has stereo sound. That's better.
That's better.
It's called a sonic port, and basically it connects right to the lightning port of your iPhone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so you get stereo sound.
Okay, that rocks.
Yeah, it's so much better.
Can we DM and exchange information?
I can let you know.
You're now my best friend in the world.
All right.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just distant.
It's just distant. How's that?
I think you're getting picked up by the internal mic of the laptop.
Can you hear me here?
Yeah.
You hear me here?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to switch that. That's when you started hearing that static, it went out.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you are if your settings is for the internal mic instead of the external mic.
Yeah, I think that's it. But it should be the external. So can you hear the sound that's going around the room?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try to switch it. We know that this is because what we're going to talk about is so good that we're running into these roadblocks, and so we're going to get through it. We're going to go around.
Yeah, that's true, D. Kerr. Yeah, it is defaulting to the mic on the laptop. That's what it is.
So it looks like he's got a hack for that. Right-click the speaker in the bottom right and select recording devices.
Okay.
Again, I got a Mac, so I have no idea about this.
Yeah. I have a Mac too, so.
So then I need to go to the microphone.
But David, I will get you set up with this little baby, and if you got a mixer to plug into, it's awesome.
I do. I've got actually. Let's see if I can. Because I actually my real job, teaching classes I do for my website.
Yeah,
I'm simul streaming on Meerkat every day, but I actually have another setup. And so I'm talking to you on a Logitech camera right here. Let me see if I can. Yeah. That's a mixing board right there. I've got set up. Right? And so I've got a couple of mics that we're using right there.
Yeah, it's just that one piece that we were missing to actually get the sound into Meerkat.
Yes.
And then I talked to Mike 1104, and he told me he used an iRig. I looked into it, and somebody at the Guitar Center, I went and said, no, don't use that because it's mono sound, and it's not going to be as good as this other thing. And he showed me this thing, and I liked it. I picked it up, and been working. It's awesome.
That's fantastic. I just got an iRig because I wanted to do something of that nature, get away from the external microphone. But you're right, it's mono, and who doesn't like stereo?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah,
it's nerd talk. We're gonna change. We're gonna hijack your show, Melissa. It's now Nerd Talk.
It pretty much
Nerd Town.
Your setup looks a lot like mine. My mixer is about the size of yours. It's just a small mixer. So. But why don't you tell us about your classes you teach and everything while she's getting set up?
Okay, sure. So, so I teach a whole series of classes. It started out with just one class early in the morning, and it's now expanded out. I teach 2 formal classes every day that are free, that are at 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. West Coast time. And I'm simul-streaming on Meerkat. But I have another platform that I use, which is much more like Blab. Only I can fit 25, I can actually fit 100 people into the room with simultaneous camera feeds.
Yeah.
It's 2-way video, 2-way audio. And we've been using that for about 3 years now. And when Meerkat came along, I said, this is a wonderful way to just introduce the classes to more people. I do it for free because I think it's one of those things I can contribute, right? And then I also have a team of other instructors who add to the class format or class schedule by teaching classes in the evening as well. So we have classes at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and 5 p.m. West Coast time, Monday through Friday, and one on Saturday morning that I do silently, which for me is like next to impossible, but I managed to pull it off.
Well, and what is that app? I think it's probably is it the Appear app? Is it that one? Or?
No, it's an app that shall be remaining nameless because last time I did it, Furkan and the rest of the guys were here and they were like, don't you compare our Blab to that app? Right?
Yeah.
No, it's actually,
I really like Blab. I like this application. I like it. It works well. I'm still getting used to the whole sidebar thing here, but
I think that what Blab has that the other platform that I have doesn't have is a social aspect, and I think that is just really brilliant. I mean, the fact that it's easy to download, it's easy to utilize. It's got multiple ways that you can access it, either on a browser or on your mobile. It's just awesome. I like it. The other platform that I use is more well suited to what I do for my classes.
Definitely.
There's room for both of those things.
Yeah. So can Melissa, we can hear you, but
Can you hear me?
I can hear you faintly, but we can hear you. So talk. Ask some questions for David-Dorian Ross.
David-Dorian Ross. Let's just switch channels a little bit and go with some classic questions, Liz questions. So, if you could travel in time, where would you travel to and why?
If I could travel in time, where would I travel to? Can I only pick one?
I mean, you can do whatever you want.
All right, excellent. Well, okay, I'll go back to what I said before about when I was a kid. When I was really young, I was fascinated by ancient Greece, and I think that I would go back to ancient Greece and travel, in Athens and sit in the agora, and listen to the great philosophers talk, and try to understand what it all meant, and that kind of thing, and wear a toga.
If you could give them advice, what would you say about the future?
Geez. Advice? No, it's the other way around. I'm taking advice.
What can I take with me? Okay. So if you could change anything, what if you could influence them? It would be really circular, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, their contributions shaped the basis of my thought because, I grew up in Western civilization. And so many of the perspectives that I have on life came from what they laid down centuries ago, and I wouldn't want to change that.
Yeah.
I mean, I would give the same advice that I give now. I mean, because the problems that we see now are not new. I mean, the problems that we see now in the world are the problems that people have always had. And the solutions to those problems is the same solution that we've always had access to. It's just like, be nice to each other.
Yeah.
Just
that's it, right? Just be nice to each other.
Yes.
Okay.
If everybody could learn that in the world, it would be such a better place, wouldn't it?
That's right.
That's all you would need. Just be nice. Be nice to each other. That's it.
So why? Why should we care about harmony? Why should we care about being nice? Tell me why did you say that you wanted to talk about why we should care about it?
So thank you for asking the question, first of all. I appreciate that. And I think that as I talk about it, there are several layers. And I want to talk to people when I talk to them about where they are in life and which layer really matters to them. Because I could talk from way up here in a philosophical point of view, and it might not be relevant to somebody. Like if they get up and say, dude, like really, I'm just trying to get through the day. I'm just trying to pay my bills. I'm just trying not to fight with my wife or, be frustrated by my kids. I just want to make it through that. Talk to me about that. I say, okay, so here is the basic fundamental principle about harmony. When you are in harmony, when you are in balance, everything works better. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be like weird. It's just that when you're in balance, and this is something that when you think about it, I don't care what your orientation is, you know this. You know this. When you're in balance, things work better. And when you're out of balance, things start to fall apart. It's just that simple.
And how do we stay in balance?
So that is a challenge. And oftentimes it breaks down to things that you should stop doing and things that you should start doing. So there are things that we do on a regular basis that just kind of push us out of balance all the time. Just push that. And I just stop doing that. Right. And again, there's a lot of times it's stuff that we already know. It's like, some people that I meet. I'll give you another story. Okay. So when I have lots of stories.
Story time with David-Dorian.
David-Dorian. I'll take it.
Not bedtime story, but something else.
Not bedtime, yes. So this is a shorter one. So when I lived in Hawaii, I used to surf. I surfed a lot. I lived near the beach and I was surfing all the time. Then I was, not a great surfer. I just really liked it. So I started to get like a reputation, a good reputation, because I was accepted by the local surfers there because I was the Tai Chi guy. I wasn't just some haole coming in, get off my surf spot, that kind of thing. It's like, oh no, he's okay. He's the Tai Chi guy, right? So that was cool. So I was down on the beach one day and one of the beach boys come up and he goes, hey, Tai Chi guy. Right? And I said, yeah. He said, I got a question. He said, smoking and drinking, that's bad, huh? And so I looked at him, I go, I don't know, brah. What do you think? Right? And he goes, yeah, I got to quit them.
So
right? It's not like, it's like, what the things that you're doing that are not helping you in life, things that you're doing that are perpetually sending you out of balance. Right? And so, and I'm not even I don't even advocate saying, oh, you must stop that now. Like never eat another French fry. Never smoke. Like, no. And this is something you said, Melissa, right at the beginning of the show, right? Little steps, right? In the Tao Te Ching, which is, in that tradition, the Tai Chi tradition, that's really what I want to speak from. My training, the journey of 1,000 miles. This is a metaphor for it's freaking hard. And nobody's going to try to fool you into thinking that it's not. It's a hard journey. Like, don't eat any more French fries. That's a hard journey. but it starts with just one step. It just starts with one foot right out there, just one less French fry. Just for today, you don't eat a French fry. That's all I'm saying. That's how it starts.
And in Nancy's lab, I was talking about, well, I have no clue where the mic is now, so I'll just talk like this, just in case. She was talking about that, like how walking is something that you can do, but you can only do it one step at a time. Otherwise, you're not walking, you're hopping or you're crawling, right? You just have to take that one step at a time. So I thought that was kind of neat. Like, we just have to keep going. So,
and so Jay was asking me about my classes, and I mean, this is really the thing about my classes. So I also really, and part of my orientation, for all of this is, like I said, I'm extraordinarily ordinary. I mean, I have gone through the same kind of challenges that everybody else has gone through as well. Financial, relationship, health-wise, you name it. I've had to have that same struggle. And so I know how difficult it is to adopt a discipline and stick with it. I know, like, when somebody comes along and gives you advice and you just want to say, fuck off, come on, really. Right? So my job is to make it as entertaining as possible so that you just want to come back and do it a second day. Right? You say we can walk one step at a time. And sometimes that steps are very painful in a literal way. If you have fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue syndrome or peripheral neuropathy or diabetes or something, taking that one step is agony. And so why would you do it? Your entire mind says, stop doing this. It hurts. But the rest of your body says you have to do it because otherwise you will age and die. So how do you do that? So my job is simply, I want to make it as pleasant and entertaining and fun and loving as possible so that you go, okay, I can do this. I can do this one more day.
And you do. And that is why you are a total rock star, David-Dorian Ross. And that's why you're on 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town. Thank you so much. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
So, why and what is it about watching British and Canadian murder mysteries that makes you just relax outside of your mind? Just get you out of your regular routine.
That's my guilty pleasure. That's if I have one. That's there is something I think ironic in the humor, even in the seriousness of British humor and Canadian humor, which is kind of quasi-British. It's like.
Let's go with mainstream movies because I haven't watched the programs. But like, what would be your favorite British comedy caper movie? Yeah,
well, like Pink Panther. I mean, like those are classics, right? Let's see what else.
Some of my favorites, I don't know if it's even close, but like Notting Hill or Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Notting Hill, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
I was thinking more along the lines of Monty Python myself.
Monty Python. But she was like mystery movies or like Monty Python.
Monty Python's funny.
Right. So there's something in that kind of humor that I really like and that drives the rest of my family nuts.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to England?
I have not. I actually won a trip to London in a game show like a long, long time ago. And I didn't take the trip. It was so terrible. And I look back at it. You talk about going back in time. If I could change something, it's like, I would have taken the trip. I really.
Was this a show that you had to yell "no whammy" on, or?
Actually, it was a show. It was kind of like a Jeopardy type show, where it was a trivia show where I had to.
You should have taken the trip.
I should have taken the trip.
Tell us another story, David-Dorian Ross. Would you please tell me a story about like Tinsel Town when you were, I don't know, something to do with acting or performing, or what kind of tale can you tell? Do you have any stories?
I mean, really, this is the thing. So I'm speaking to the audience now. So I have absolutely no right to be on 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town because I am like the most famous guy you've never heard of. I'm not even a Z-list celebrity. I'm somewhere in the double alphabet. I'm like a CC.
That's why it's not 15 minutes.
Yeah.
That's why it's not 15 minutes. It's only 10. I only get my 10 minutes. All right. So
you're an A-lister on Meerkat and Blabs.
Bless you. Yes, I'm humbled by. I say this every day. I just people give me their time and attention, and that's like the greatest gift anybody can give you.
Yeah.
And I'm just really grateful for that. So, and the fact that I'm saying something that seems relevant enough and contributed enough to people that they want to keep coming back is a gift. And I'll keep doing it until people say, enough already. Shut up with the Tai Chi already. So I'll keep doing it until then. So here's one of my quasi. I'll give you two of them. Two celeb stories. Both of them happened in Hawaii, actually. So when my first TV show came out, we did a 13-part television series for Hawaiian public television. And then that was broadcast all over the country, and all the public television stations showed this show called Tai Chi in Paradise. And it was very well received. It was the best Tai Chi show of its type at the time. And my girlfriend, who was my co-host at the time, and I got into this elevator, and we were going up to the top floor of some building, and there were these two, like, in their early 20s, something like that. On the other side of the elevator, this young couple, and they were like huddling together, like looking at us and like looking back. And, finally they go, "Are you the Tai Chi people?" And we're like, "Why, yes, we are." And we thought we were famous at that moment. That was the last time that ever happened. So,
you were recognized.
I was recognized. And the other story was similar kind of thing. It was again in Hawaii, and this was years later. And I came back to Hawaii, and I was dating a girl, and she wanted to go to an Air Force base to see her father's old house or whatever. So we drive up to the base, and there's a guard shack right there, and the guard comes out, and he's wearing these big mirrored sunglasses, and he's looking right in the car. He's like, "Why are you here? What do you want?" And the whole thing like this. And I tell him she wants to see her dad's old house. All of a sudden in the middle, he's like, "Wait a minute. Don't I know you from somewhere?" And he's pointing into the car. We can't tell who he's talking to. He's got the glasses on. She thinks that he's talking about her. And she's about to say, "Well, yes, I did a modeling shoot and all thing like that." And he goes, whips off his sunglasses. "You're the Tai Chi guy. I've seen your show. I love your show. Oh, my God."
Awesome.
That was
Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that's cool. That's pretty cool. I told you about the dream. Somebody contacted me that had a dream about meeting me. So this didn't really happen. Can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I got contacted on Facebook by someone who I was friends with but I'd never met. And she said, "I had a dream about you last night, Melissa." I said, "So, okay, what was the dream?" And she said, I was standing in line for a concert, and I saw you, and I turned to my husband, and I said, "There's Melissa Reyes. Oh, my gosh, I've always wanted to meet her." And so I went up to you, and you were really nice to me. And I said, "Wow, what concert was it?" Because at this point, I think she's kind of a crazy person, right? So we got to talking, and she turned out to be a really nice person, but she thinks that she recognized me. We'd never met. It was really crazy. But so that's the closest I have of somebody recognizing me is actually that they dreamt about me. Weird.
But you're preparing for the future when everybody will recognize she's the host of 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town.
It was just before I wrote my book, and she really did kind of have a premonition, I guess, about asking me for an autograph. That was kind of cool.
Can I have your autograph? I want your autograph.
You know what? You have to buy a book, David-Dorian.
I will totally buy a book. No, I'm serious. I will absolutely buy a book.
My book that you can go to MsMeliz.com, and there's a tab there that
says
books by Melissa Reyes. So there you
I'm
go.
doing it tomorrow. I'm doing it
And
tomorrow.
since we don't live far from each other, you know, we could work something out. I'll autograph it for you. But you know, I really appreciate you being here. And I purposely did not prepare questions for your interview because I just wanted to hear your stories and go off of what we said. But I threw in that travel one, or that time travel one, that you've shared so much about yourself and how you got started. How about what do you want to do going forward? What kinds of things are you thinking about for the future of your show and for your clientele and for you and for your family? And tell me more about what you think you'll be doing next. And I'm going to tell you what my next question is going to be about so you can lead into it. What would be your big, hairy, audacious goal?
What was that last one?
What is your big, hairy, audacious goal?
My big, hairy, audacious, my BHAG.
Yeah.
So I am really aware. I feel it tingling in my body that I am in a place, you know, like not just on the verge, but actually in the moment that I have been waiting for and preparing for, training for, and envisioning for the last 30 years. Right? I'm right there at that moment. One moment. Is this a face?
No, it's not a face.
It's not a face. It's just poop on a shingle. No. Oh, I see. Oh, it's got all kinds of faces on there. It's got a cat.
No, that's not a cat.
What is it?
It's supposed to be a heart.
Oh, it's a heart. What's it? Oh.
And then a heart in here. Something.
I see lots of hearts. Can you do me a favor?
Mm-hmm.
Can you show me this a little bit later? I wanted to show it to everybody because there's some beautiful hearts on there, right? Everybody can see some hearts on there.
Yes, they're beautiful.
They're beautiful.
I love
Oh,
They're my favorite color. One of my favorite colors.
all right. So this is my spiritual teacher here. This is the Fourfold Guru sharing with me her new art creation there. Thank you,
awesome.
sweetheart. Nobody saw you. So I mean,
you're raising your child. That's a huge thing.
yeah. The way I feel about, and this may sound strange to some people, and I hope it doesn't sound out of place, because I want people to understand, you know, what it actually means and not just on the surface of it. The way I feel about Harper and the way I try to teach my children is that this right here, those hearts, that human heart, has no bottom. It has no walls. It has no boundaries. There is an unlimited capacity in there. And the way I feel about her is really very, almost identical to the way I feel about the people that come to my classes. Right? I love them. I love you guys. I mean, I don't just say that like, oh, I love you. It's like, no, like that is the connection to the rest of humanity that I feel. Like we don't have to start to limit what can fit in there. Like, oh, I can only fit my family in there. I can only fit a few friends in there. I can only fit people who are the same color as I am. I can only fit people that go to the same church as I am. No, you can fit everybody in there. And I feel capable of handling that for the first time in my life. And I want to share that message. And of course, but I want to make it practical. It's not just like some way out there philosophy. And so the practicality of that comes from my Tai Chi training. Mindfulness training, the Tai Chi, the energy work, the meditation is a practical way that people can start to go, oh, I can open this up a little bit. Like really, I don't expect everybody to go, I'm Gandhi now, right? I would expect people to say, maybe I could fit one more person in there, like just one more. Or maybe that jerk that cut me off on the freeway, I don't have to hate him. I can there's room in there, Like that's all, and for the first time, I think I can go back to where I was when I was 9 years old, 8 years old. I can stand up and just say, that's what's right. That's just the right thing to do. Like Jay, we were talking about, just be nice to each other. Like it's just the right thing to do. And so what I envision doing with my classes is trying to reach more and more people and making this a message that people can get next to and go, that sounds reasonable. That sounds doable. That sounds like not such a crazy thing. David-Dorian's out there, but he's not crazy.
We didn't get the guy in here dancing around with snakes. We got a good level, balanced, centered person. So
No, he'll be on next week. No.
Yeah, that's right. He's the follow-up act. He's coming on.
Yeah, no, you resonate. What you say resonates with us and with everybody that we know who follows you. And I think that that's really down to earth and just amazing. I don't know, you're just amazing. I really like that. So what you're saying though about the future and going forward is really just by continuing to do your work and to touch as many people as possible with your message.
Yes. So I don't know if I've said this, Melissa, or made this really clear. Like, I have an agenda. I want to be, I try to be really upfront and really out, with this agenda. There is a purpose behind what I'm doing and like what I want to get out of it. I want to leave a legacy for my children. I want to leave them a world that is better than the world I grew up in, and that is a world where people are nice to one another, where people find I want people to get past all the bullshit that we're doing right now, because there's a huge amount of another life that we could be living, another future that we could be creating.
I love what you're saying. I love it. Absolutely love it. I applaud that. That is your big, hairy, audacious goal.
That's my big, hairy, audacious goal.
That's amazing. Yes. I feel the same exact way, David. And it's just recently that I've started to be that way, that I've come to grips with myself enough to stop hating others, just totally stop, because there's no place for that in my heart anymore. There's just not.
Man, so, that is beautiful right there.
Yeah. So I totally get what you're saying. What you're saying to me right now, you're speaking to me. It's totally, whatever you're doing, it's working. Okay. So keep it up.
One step at a time, right? Well, so I have one more question for you. And do you have a big, hairy, audacious goal that you'd want to share that's like something out there that you're going for? Or do you
that's pretty hairy and audacious, I think.
It's like, yeah. I know. That's why I was like, I'm ready to go on, but I didn't want to leave anything out. Okay. So how many tattoos do you have, David-Dorian?
I only have 2 right now, but I'm like planning for the next series.
Are you? A series?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're designing it. So I have this one, right? And so this one I got when I turned 50. Like, I waited my whole life because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to get. I was like in that state of like, what should it be?
That's why Shane doesn't have any tattoos. He says he's not decided, right?
I can't commit.
So, you want me to tell the story behind this, or am I picking up all the time?
Tell it. Tell us the story.
So I got this in Hawaii, and when I was there on a trip, and I knew I was going to get a tattoo when I got to Hawaii, because I really had planned it. Like, I want my first tattoo to be a Hawaiian tribal tattoo, and I wanted to have it done in a place where so much had meant to me, and so many people had meant something to me. But I didn't know what I was going to get. So we show up, Sparky's with me. We show up there. The first day we walk into the condo where we're staying, and she comes out of the back room and she's got the local paper. And in the local paper on the back page is this column with all this tribal art, this hieroglyphic, this petroglyph art. And there are these 2 triangular petroglyphs. One stands for mana, which is the energy that comes down from the ancestors, the life energy, the power, the force, that is given to you by your ancestors to do great things in life, right? The mana. And the second one, by the way, mana can be taken away. Like, if you abuse it, the ancestors will snatch it out from you, right? And the second petroglyph was for ihi, which means personal responsibility for life. Your personal choices. I'm like, that's it right there. So that's what I had done right there, and that's the yin yang symbol. Of course, I had to have that. So that was the first one. Then this one I got last year, maybe 2 years ago. I think, no, it's like just last winter, year and a half. This is Sun Wukong, the Monkey King. Now, the Monkey King is a really famous character in Chinese folklore and mythology. He is like the god of martial arts. He is also related to, in Hindu mythology, the god Hanuman. And both of these, their special, really, really deep power is their open heart. Right? And so I got him put right on there to remind me and to give me strength and courage when I felt like it was hard to keep my heart open, that I could do it. And so that's
awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Okay. I have 3.
You have 3.
I do.
Because didn't you say that you walked into a restaurant and you said to the waiter you had more tattoos than he did?
No. You said if you go to the restaurant that you recommend in Oregon, the tattoo, that the waiters would have more tattoos than I do.
Yes. Because
they probably would.
Because the waitress there has more tattoos than just about anybody I know.
So tell us about that restaurant. Because I always like to know where my superstars like to hang out.
Oh, this is an awesome restaurant. It's called Jam. Jam or Jams? I'll have to get Sparky to help me out with that. And it's on Hawthorne. And it is a funky, it's big. I mean, it's not like really small or smoky or anything like that, but it's like big open tables, and they're all mismatched, and it's all kinds of, people come in there and draw big pictures, and then they hang them up on the walls, and it's awesome. And we've been there for breakfast every time we go there because they serve amazing breakfast. And when we walk in for breakfast, it's got like it's 9:00 in the morning, and on the blackboard right there is like the Moscow Mule of the day. Drink this for breakfast. So we're kind of hardcore at the same time, and
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like a lot of fun. And fabulous. You know what? Sparky has been putting a lot of comments on the side. She's been cracking me up a little bit. I really like Sparky. So fabulous infused mimosas. That's why she likes it. She said.
That's why she likes it.
Mimosas safe for breakfast, but I think you were talking about tequila shots or something.
They do all of that. So just depending on what's your pleasure. But they also have like organic, gluten-free, local grown, really, really delicious food there. So, that's kind of what we go for.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no, I know. No, I think that you like to have a lot of fun, and I think that shows in your smile, and you have an energy about you that is fun. It's really fun to watch, and I think that's very genuine, David-Dorian. I don't think that it's part of your act or anything. I love how you show your videos from earlier times in your teaching. And so I think you're a class act. You really are. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you. So does anybody have any questions for David-Dorian Ross? If you'd like to either get in on the seat for the last 20 minutes or so, or put your questions into the comments. If you have a question for Jay at Gene Wilder's Hair, or myself at Ms. Liz, or at 10 Minute, we'd love to have you join us. Seats open for anyone. If you're on Meerkat and watching, Jay will give you instructions on how to either just ask questions with him, or call in, or come on to the comments. And so prepare your questions. Put it out there on Twitter. If you have a question for DDR, David-Dorian Ross is with us, and he's happy to answer your questions about
David, I got a question from Meerkat, and it's from Jose, Acoustic King. Basically, he was asking, how do you deal with all the hate out there that surrounds us every day?
It's a brilliant question, right? Because there's a ton of it. And some of it's hard to deal with. Some of it's really extreme. The stuff that's going on with ISIS, stuff that's going on, with people walking into church and shooting other, little kids. I mean, there's a part of me that wants to just sit down and put my head in my hands and just weep because I don't know what to do about it. Those are tough questions, and I don't know that I am the person to come up with answers about that. But I'll tell you what I do that you can hate the actions, but not the actor.
Yes.
Right. I absolutely have no tolerance for people who like commit acts of violence. Right. I don't like somebody walks into a church and pulls out a gun and starts shooting places. Like, that's fucked up. I don't have any tolerance for that at all. But the person who did it is a human being who started out just like my 7-year-old started out, as a beautiful child who deserves nothing but love. Nothing but love. They don't deserve anything else but unconditional and infinite love. And then over the years, stuff happens, and it gets buried, it gets put aside, it gets crusted over, it gets twisted and shaped and molded until that angry person walks in and starts killing people. But inside is still that child somewhere. Maybe you'll never access it, right? As some people, it's like you can never dig that deep. It's just not going to happen. It doesn't stop me from wanting to love them. It doesn't stop me from wanting to not the actor that pulled the trigger, but the child that was inside. And as long as I keep remembering that, I can keep myself from hating. Like this is the point I want to make. Like, what can I do about the violence? I don't know. I really don't know. But what I do know is that I can stop myself from becoming like that. And that is the biggest contribution we can each one of us make. Like, you could not try to take on fixing the world. You could like, don't worry about how am I going to deal with all the hatred. Stop yourself from becoming a hater. Mm-hmm. Teach your children how not to become haters.
Yep.
And then one by one, we just create a world in which that's less and less likely to happen. Not fixed overnight, but less and less likely. And that's big.
Yep. You have to start with yourself.
Yeah.
That's thank you for answering that question. Does anybody else have any questions for David-Dorian Ross? And
no, but I just wanted to add to that too. He asked that question a while ago, and I had answered it for him, and I wanted to pose that question to yourself. But also, what I told him too was that the first thing I did was I tried to take hate out of my vocabulary totally, but I still sometimes falter. But what I don't falter on is saying that I hate anyone. I don't throw that word against anyone anymore because I don't feel it for anyone anymore. And a lot of people that know the stuff I've been through and know the people that are in my life ask me, like, why don't you hate that person? Well, I've stopped because there's nothing. It's wasted energy to hate somebody. Put that energy into positive energy instead of hate, and you'll feel better. And seriously, I feel much better sending all that energy to positivity rather than negativity. So that's what I did.
So awesome, Jay. I'm so happy for you. And so, David-Dorian, would you tell me about how we can connect with you? What are the channels the shows that you're doing? And don't forget to tell us about your Blab 4 out of 5.
Oh my goodness!
You're doing.
So where do I begin? So first of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this with everybody else. So I am absolutely accessible on the social media platforms like Meerkat and Blab. I'm on Meerkat a lot because I just think it's a wonderful platform. It gives me just exactly the kind of connection that I'm looking for with more people, although I'm going to be spending a lot more time on Blab. I can tell you that right now. But I also conduct most of my classes off of my website, which is, drumroll please, daviddorianross.com. So if you just look at my name, wherever it might be there, it just rolls out, no punctuation, all lowercase, David-Dorian, which means there's a double D in there, David-Dorian, daviddorianross.com is the website. About at least 80%, maybe more, of the classes that I offer are free. So we do have classes that you pay for, that we have workshops and master classes and everything that we offer. I also run a very traditional classical Tai Chi academy, also online, with using this kind of technology, two-way video, two-way audio. And we are the pioneers of using this technology in the world to deliver Tai Chi classes in a classical sense using live streaming. And that website is Dr. Tai Chi, DrTaichi.com, Dr. Tai Chi. And about once a month, we do an open house. People can come and take a free class and just check it out. And that's coming up actually it's always the first Sunday of the month. So it's coming up this coming Sunday. And if anybody wants to take a class, they can hit me up on Twitter or Meerkat or anywhere, send up a smoke signal. I'd be so grateful if you wanted to come and see what our classes are like.
Awesome. I have the link to Dr. Tai Chi and to David-Dorian-Ross.com on MsMeliz.com. You just have to click on the picture of David-Dorian. It'll take you right there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So, and
I just love you. You are so terrific, and I just kind of a little insight to some of the people. So Melissa and I got on the phone together, and it was like, what were we on the phone like for an hour or something? And we just like we had known each other forever. It was a wonderful, wonderful phone call, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a great friendship, and just like this is just the beginning. I'm really honored and grateful for you to invite me on your show because I made a pest of myself saying I want to be on your show, but I just can feel that we're gonna maybe connect and do more things going in the future.
Yeah, absolutely, and I was really thankful for you to be so open about sharing your platform with trainer.lee and Zoom and all those ideas that you have that gave me such motivation and encouragement in how I can present my show and to send my message. And I mean, that is just, you're just so open to sharing your space and what you do. And that made me feel so good. And then now, yes, I'm also spunky during your bedtime story. Because I came into a Meerkat stream where you and Sparky were talking about a story, and we were just digging into you and asking you all kinds of deep questions. And boy, it was almost like a covert patron's hot seat. And so I promised you I wouldn't do that to you here, and I'm so glad that Sparky is in the comments because it just, you have a really great dynamic together, and I appreciate your demonstration of how a good relationship can be. So that's really awesome too. I'm glad that you're incorporating her insights, because that what she does and says is a huge part of who you are.
I have such enormous respect for her for putting up with my bullshit for so long, and being so brilliant. Like she challenges me daily. Like, you think you were challenging me in that?
It was hard.
It challenges me daily, which makes me a better person, I think.
Yeah. Well, you are a wonderful person, and I appreciate that so much. Thank you. Does anybody else have any questions, or maybe we can? Do you have any questions for us, David-Dorian? Do you have a question for me or for Jay?
Wow. Well, I think that, I'm curious. The curiosity is, where do you want to take the show? Because I think here's why I asked this question. It's kind of an obvious question, but in a way, like, I'm observing the evolution of our live streaming technology. I'm watching how people sort of develop their own shows and their own messages and whatnot. And I think that there are some people who are sort of just Truman showing it, right? Just kind of making that happen. There are some people who are figuring it out, kind of thing. There are some people who actually have created a format for themselves and have the opportunity to create a statement. And I don't know. I'm curious about where you want to take this, because I want to at least follow, if not play with you every so often.
Well, I've been doing the interviewing and through live connection via webcam this way for almost a year. And I started out by practicing on my friends who were wonderful and letting me interview them. And I just love it more every time I do it. So now there's a platform where it really fits. It feels comfortable, it fits. We're supported by new technology and developers, and everybody seems to like it. So I want to take it to a next level. I don't know what the next level is going to be, but I'll tell you something. When you said about what makes you excited, what makes you happy, I have a lot of projects that I've been working on and a lot of things stewing in the back burner, but I'm pretty much ready to put everything else to rest and focus on this, because I think this is it. I'd like to get sponsors. We'd like to move. This is going to be the first time I've said this, and Jay and I have mentioned it, but I feel about it so strongly. I may move to a point where I might charge people to be on the show, because I provide a service more than just an interview. There's also the social media and a campaign that goes along with every show. So people who have something that they want to get out there further and get a further reach would have that benefit. So I'm trying to work out ways, and I'm seeking some advice of a business coach to see where I can take it. So there's a lot of ideas, but for right now, I am enjoying the space and having fun and meeting people like you and Jay and all the people in Lab and Meerkat, and we're just, and it's going to be like this for a little while. So we're just going to enjoy it.
Cool. Well, I hope that I can come back and play with you sometimes.
Absolutely. And I'll be bugging you on all your streams.
I'm just at least going to come in and sit in your streams and be spunky.
Oh, yes. You can be spunky. I will call you Spunky.
You can call me Spunky.
Okay,
we'll call each other Spunky depending on where we are.
Yeah, spunkiness. It's fun. And so, Jay, did you have any questions for Jay?
Well, wonderful? I was asking him some technical stuff there. I mean, the obvious question, which is probably the question everybody asked him, but I haven't been around when it was asked. So, what's up with Gene Wilder's hair?
Great question.
It was a name I made up when I was about 14 years old, back in the early 90s. We're talking about 91. And during the AOL chat room days, I made it back then, and I've had it on the back burner for a while, and I used it as my Twitter handle back in 2009. I never used Twitter until Meerkat came out, and then I decided to use it on Meerkat, and thankfully I did, because it was one that everybody remembers. Like, people always pick up on that name and say, hey, I see you everywhere, so. I'm sticking with it.
Sticking with it. All right. I just didn't know whether it had a meaning, like when the hat comes off, that's.
Oh, no. Matter of fact, I'm losing my hair, so I don't have Gene Wilder's hair, unfortunately. Well, I have his hair now at 82, so because he's lost it as well. So
Jay is going to be Gene Wilder for Halloween, and I'm going to be Gilda Radner's hair.
You're going to be Gilda Radner's hair.
Rosanna Dana.
That's funny.
So, just stick with us. You never know what we might do or say. I think right now, if you don't have any more questions from the side, I have to thank, and Jay can help me out here with thanking everybody who's come into the stream. And we really enjoy interacting with you. And right now I see Black Caesar and Tommy Sparrow and Mare and Covert and Walt, and it's amazing that everybody's here. Thank you so much for your support.
There is a question. Do you have time to? Because I think this is a really interesting question.
We have plenty of time to answer questions.
Sparky did say that somebody had asked a question about what if you were damaged as a young child and going back to that time in your memory doesn't bring up good thoughts. So that's a really good question. And again, there's no easy answers to anything. And let me just make it clear that I'm not a psychotherapist, and I'm not trying to fix anybody or anything like that. In fact, Sparky is really good at this when she talks about active imagination. So sometimes you can take a situation and imagine a different situation, a different outcome, a different cast of characters, a different scenario. I mean, so everybody who's getting to know me on Meerkat and knows what a big mushball I am. I'm like the most emotional, mushy guy you can imagine. When I hear something like that about damage as a child or having terrible memories of a child, it makes me so incredibly, incredibly sad. I mean, I want to go back in time and in active imagination, cradle that child in my arms and give them the same kind of love I give to my children, because that should just not happen. Right? And perhaps that is doable, especially if you know that there are people who would be willing to do that. That you're not alone in the world, that especially now, you can be in two worlds at once. You can be in your active imagination, and you can know that you're living in this world where there are people who care. There are people who would do, like you asked me what I would do if a time machine. Okay, I'll tell you what I would do with the time machine. I would go back to that moment and cradle that child in my arms and say, no, you are so loved right now, and nobody's going to fuck with you. Period.
No,
that's what I would do with the time machine.
I wish we could do that. I believe you could do that now. I believe that you can say, okay, let's think about your childhood and let's change that. Let's replace those thoughts and memories with what you would want for your own child. That's what Jay and I have talked about. Like, instead of having that animosity towards whatever happened to you, turn it around and give more love to your child now. And so I talk about that, and then also, what did that child want to do to fix that situation or to get out of that situation? It still applies to what you can do with your life now. If that is what burns and makes you have that desire to do whatever action to turn it into positive, use that energy to do it. So, we don't pause those things that happen to us. They happen to us, and we still grow up. We still go on. We still have a career. We still have a family. And so, we can change things. You can't go back and fix it, but you can go forward. And so that's how I would address it. So,
That's so right, Melissa. That really is, because that's what I do for my children. As most people know here, that I was an abused child, and I don't spank my kids because of that. I teach them right from wrong without having to use any kind of corporal punishment. No hitting. And kids are like little people. They understand. You can talk to them. They're just human beings, just like the rest of us. They're just learning. And so there's ways to turn everything into a positive. But yeah, it's definitely something that many people struggle with. I struggled with it in the past, but I don't anymore. I'm good with it. I've got more positive energy to put out there in the world. I don't need to dwell on negativity anymore. So.
And it's hard to say, what would I say to somebody who, if I'm asking them about bringing up their childhood memories, I would only ask them that in a context where I would know a little bit about them. So maybe I wouldn't go that direction. So that might not even be an issue. But I do appreciate the question, and I think that there are a lot of ways to look at it. I have Black Caesar who'd like to come in. And so how do you guys feel about that? Should we bring him in?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what he has to say.
Well, I want to weigh in on the same question that everybody else was talking about, because now, even though I caught it part way, I'm from the old Werner Erhard school. So I don't know if a lot of people know about that. It's not Tony Robbins. It's before his time. Werner Erhard believed in a kind of self-enlightenment So early on, what I did in my childhood is I noticed the way that my father did things, good and bad, and the way that my mother did things. And I swore when I get older, I'm going to fix these things for my kids and do parenting a whole different way. So, with that and what we were talking about, the past, a lot of what I think you got to get to is people are in the past. That's like driving the car and looking in your rearview mirror all the time. You don't see what's up ahead. Or people are just looking to the future. And your kids are right in the car with you. And what you really need to be doing is living in the now and in the present. And see, I'm going to tell and share this story again. I had to real quickly because all of a sudden I'm doing my thing. I'm working in big telecommunication company, AT&T area. I got the wife, I got the kids. I come home, wife says, I found a lump in my breast. Ooh. All of a sudden, I stepped into the role of mama daddy with two girls. So I reached into the old bag of tricks and said, well, gee, I'm going to have to change everything around because now this is speaking to being in the now. Hey, Dad, we're doing a play where we got Columbus Day and I'm walking around the school and stuff. I took your suggestion. Instead of being Columbus, I'm going to dress as a Native American. And are you going to be there? Oh, let's see now. If I'm the only parent left, gee, okay, I'm going to have to rechange and reprogram my whole working thing to be there for you because all this time when I'm growing up, a lot of parents are like my dad. Oh, I'm sorry, I got to be at work. Oh, you're playing football. This is your big game. You're ready to lock out the season. My parents never came to any of my football games, not one. Hey, there's my mom, there's my dad. Carlos, where's your parents? Oh, they're in the Bronx. Anyway, so in going with that, being present with your kids, because see, they have these memories and they're logging, just like Jay said, they're watching everything that you do. And they're figuring out, okay, I'm styling off of him because they could style off of the guy playing craps and shooting drugs on the corner or, style off of FIFA and say, sure, it's great to be corrupt, but you've got to be the role model. So I've expanded on that I'm going to throw out to Jay, David, and Melissa. People have said, hey, man, you did such a great job raising your kids, single dad, they're in college, they're doing this. Hey, that's great. You did that. Yeah. So all the young kids that I see out there, I'm old enough that I just keep going around, hey, son, and the young ladies, I feel so relaxed at your dad's house and in your house. So I take them all as my kids. They're young enough. Even their parents are young enough to be my kids. So I got like 380 because, see, that's what a lot of people are lacking. Because of how society works, I hate you. I don't like you. We're divorced. We're over here. So now I got no mother, no father. I'm a guy, and I'm learning how to be a man from, no offense, Melissa, I'm learning how to be a man from mom. Oh, that's not working too well. So I just step in and do a positive role reinforcement with all the kids around me. I go over to the biggest guy on the basketball team at the local college. That's part of the story here. And his name is Darius Morrow. He's got parents, but he's stuck in my town, Greenville, playing basketball. Now he's playing professional basketball in Turkey. So I go up to Darius Morrow. Hey, man, I played football, but if I was as big as you, I'd own up underneath that rim. Ain't nobody could get through me, man. You got to establish yourself. And yes, sir, Mr. Romero. No. I'm not playing. Look, if I was as big, nobody could get past me. So I go out in the stands, see, and the coaches are doing their thing. I'm not bound by coaching rules. I can go in the stand and holler, yeah, money, come on. I'm a single supporter. You can influence, this is speaking to this, you can influence a whole sports game. Tell me if I'm wrong, Jay. You look like a sports guy. Are you?
Yeah.
you can influence the whole game from the stands. So that's what I would do. I'd go out there and just start yelling all crazy stuff. Guys would look around. Wow, that's Sharika's dad up there. Yeah, and I'm pumping up the guys with, yeah, come on, man. Don't let them come in there again. Block them out. And the same thing with the kids that are in your job, in your business. Come on, man. Now you can calculate and do those books. And you can, you're here on work study. You can handle these financial sheets. I know you can do that. Look, there's a trick to everything. And that's how I look at it, which is being present with all the people who are around you instead of, I'm in my box over here, see? And I can't go over there into David's box because I got to stay over here. But how about if I could just, well, I thought it would work. I thought I could slide over into David's box.
Oh, yes, slide the other way.
I'll make some room.
I know.
I thought there was a door there. Melissa, there's no door? Okay,
Yeah.
well, we could just hang like this, see? And and I got my arm around him. You can't see it, but I got my arm around his shoulder there.
You can do that.
Huh?
You can give a
Oh,
high
yeah.
five.
Ready? Dave?
Yep.
No, the other hand. I think your right hand. Your right hand to the left.
There.
Go to the left. Come on. Oh, boy. See that? Look at that.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
Jake.
thank you so much, Black Caesar. Thanks for coming in and for the high fives, and then open it up to somebody else, if that's okay with
Sure.
you. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. The seat's open for anyone. If you have a question for David-Dorian Ross, we have a few more minutes, or Gene Wilder's here, or myself. And I just wanted to once again thank everybody for being here. And David-Dorian, will you tell me about the 4 out of 5 talk that you're doing with Marlia?
We did one already, and we haven't gotten together to plan the next one. But I think that we are definitely going to do it because it was such a fun thing. So I had somebody came into my stream who then recommended that Malia come and check out what I was doing. And so she came to one of my streams and said, "Oh, this is really nice. I really resonate with your message." And she reached out to me personally. And we started talking. And I said, "I would love to do something together because I think she's brilliant. I think I have a mere crush on her brain."
She's pretty cool.
So I said, what could we do that we might collaborate on? And I think this is when Blab was first just coming out, and we started to conceive that maybe we could do something on this platform or on dual streaming and Meerkat. So she suggested some other members of the panel, Kuldeep Dosanjh from at Fortis Health, and our good friend of hers, her former roommate James Beck. They were apparently, and James just got married. I think he just got married this weekend or something. But, Lydia Madison from Living Chic and myself, and we did a Blab 4 out of 5. Meaning there were 5 of us, but there's only 4 chairs, so you only get 4 out of 5 of us at one time. That's how the name came about. That was James's idea, and the topic was personal wellness practices. And so each one of us had something to contribute about that, and I thought it just went really. It was so much fun, and there was such a really smart group of people that, we have already talked about doing something again, but James just got married, and it's kind of been pretty busy the last couple of weeks, so we haven't come up with a date yet. But stay tuned because we definitely will.
That. I really liked it. It was very good, and I think when I was listening, I heard you were talking about types of meditation or ways to breathe and just little things, but based on this conversation that they were having together, it was very different. It was nice. I liked it. I didn't understand it at first because I didn't know about it, but I was like wanting to dive in so much. But then I thought, okay, I'm just going to watch, and I learned a lot. I love it. It's really, really good. So question. Let's see. Tommy Sparrow is in the room. He has a talk show too that he just finished, and I was wondering if he had anything. Plus, I'm really curious, Tommy, if you did the writing prompt that we talked about. I think there's a Natasha Linsky is doing a mere writing weekly group where she gives the prompt and then we write about it over the week, and the following week we give our give our answer. And this week we were writing about just creative writing, and this week we were given the assignment to write as an inanimate object, and then to be able to read the paragraph. But her show starts right at the same time as mine, every Tuesday night. So I didn't know that when I joined, so I'm never going to be able to go to it. So trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. Tommy is as well. The timing just doesn't work for us. We might have to start a different one or at a second night or something. So I did write a little bit, and I'm not going to read the whole thing right now, but I wanted to tell you that, let's say this. There's a little thing in here. Like, one of the things that you said, David-Dorian, in the beginning was something about the room being dark, or finding yourself in darkness. And I actually wrote that in my little story. My inanimate object was in the dark, and it was so closely tuned to what you were saying. It freaked me out a little bit. I'm like, I didn't read it out loud to anybody, just Roman heard it. That was it. So that was kind of weird. But I'm not going to reveal what my object is or who I am, and because I'm going to have to do that at another time. But I thought that was a little bit of a coinky-dink. And then, the first sentence is it is dark. So, that just freaked me out. And then also about choosing one thing to focus on. I think that was something that was covered at that conference. And so we had a lot of common themes, as we always do. And I have that happen to me with Tommy and Jay, and it just, I love this space so much. Lydia, too, you mentioned. Lydia will talk in the morning, and it'll be something I needed to hear. So it's so fantastic. And as we close out, I just want to leave everybody with that. Just, that those little mini miracles are what makes life so interesting and so much fun. And let's keep it up, just keep sharing, telling your story. And that your struggle story. I heard about struggle stories this past weekend too, and having a struggle story to share can make somebody else like you and know you and trust you. But we don't all have a terrible, harsh struggle story, but we all can identify with struggling. So just be yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for coming to 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town. This is Ms. Meliz, Dean Wilder's hair, and David-Dorian Ross. We appreciate you being here. Have a great week next week. Who do we have next week, Jay?
I don't have my notes in front of me, so I don't know.
Oh, yeah, it's Sean Diddy.
It's the guy with the snakes, right?
The guy with the snakes.
Oh, Puerto Rican.
Guy with the snakes. He's going to dance to your opening music.
And Sean Diddy, she's an awesome country western singer, and she was Sean Diddy was the co-host for Emeril Lagasse when he had his first show on the Home Shopping Network. And so she's kind of got a really interesting background with TV and television. So,
and did you say Puerto Rican as well?
I think it's Puerto Rican next week too.
Oh,
I don't know.
okay.
The schedule got really messed up. So it's either that, they're coming up. It may not be next year, but they're coming up. We're going to have Puerto Rican. Okay. We're going to have Christopher Lopez. And we're going to have Jens Oliver and Leila Perez and Armored Man, who's an awesome podcaster and life coach. And we're going to have Roma Tarpal. She's an author. I've got a bunch of authors who are going to be coming on. And Roma wrote a book about parenting. And she talks about the tools of innocence. Oh my gosh, she's amazing. So we're going to have some amazing people coming up. So keep an eye on 10 Minutes in Tinsel Town every Tuesday night, 6 to 8 p.m. Tonight I'm here live from Temecula, California, and Starbucks. And I thank everybody for letting me have this corner of the room.
Melissa, Anthony says hello from Meerkat.
Anthony could possibly be my cousin Hey, Anthony, put that pizza in the oven. We're on our way home.
Yeah. Hello. And I just want to leave everybody with, be kind to one another, people. Be kind to one another.
Thank you, David-Dorian. And thank you, Sparky.
Awesome guest, David.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm going to turn off the recording, and, we can